Hi, hi. Hey.
So good, this bit of acting. I'm sort of want to sit in a bit of respectful silence. Um, this man breaking.
It's quite, it's quite hard to watch.
That's all. Um,
Quite never got to weird,
so
very
it's
weird
also
for me.
your endeavour because what does this mean? This means
Oh, it's the final reconciliation. It's the final kind of catharsis of this great theme between mother and son. Um, this hard man who's become progressively harder for 3 hours suddenly softens and weeps. And there's this line here, which I always thought was the most extraordinary, subtle bit of direction from Shakespeare, which is, "And sir, it is no little thing to make mine eyes to sweat compassion." So that's sort of Shakespeare saying, you need to be,
yeah,
you need to be,
better
you
cry now.
probably need to cry now. And the idea that this guy we've been talking about, he's changed from man to dragon. He moves like an engine. Where there is no more mercy in him than there is milk in a male tiger. The image of a male tiger does not conjure up an image of softness or vulnerability or open-heartedness or empathy or anything. It just is ferocity and power. And suddenly you have a warrior, a warrior machine, so moved by the sight of his mother, wife, and sons entreaty, that he weeps, and he agrees not to take revenge on the city that banished him. But in that contract, he knows that he has signed his own death warrant.
And they know that too.
And his mother knows it as well. And so this is they all know this is goodbye, that they will never see each other again. And it's quite something to play. It's I talked early on about kind of coming on, and it like starting a very long race, running around the track and just running with a kind of repetitive intensity, that with every revolution of the track, the play gets more and more and more intense, and the tension builds and builds and finally breaks here. And then Shakespeare drives it home with a closing scene. But you've had this warrior described in blood, described in scars, described in kind of, Cominius says he struck Coriolanus like a planet. Orpheus is going to accuse him of being a boy of tears, and going to reduce his whole life to being a boy of tears. And I think that something only Shakespeare could write it, which is the human capitulation to feel something honest and real and vulnerable.
Yeah.
Is the reason he is executed.
Yeah.
So it's almost like at the moment of his growth, which is to learn how to be vulnerable, to weep, to open his heart, is the moment he makes himself. He's like the idea of a character being executed for his vulnerability. It's pure tragedy. It's reversal, recognition, catharsis, or whatever the structure of tragedy is supposed to be.
Although I don't think it's an argument. It's not a warning against vulnerability, is it?
No, it's actually I think a championing of vulnerability. It's what makes it so sad.
Yeah. And what's coming up?
If he had softened earlier, he may not have suffered the same fate.
Yeah.
But he was so proud for so long that to withdraw now is to seal his death warrant. And what's extraordinary?
Also, I mean, sorry.
No.
You know, talking before about women directors, and because I am not a man, I think one of the ways in which I was able to look at this play is about the demands that some societies make on men.
Mm.
You know, and how much they require of them when they ask them, and of course the world has changed now, we ask this of women as well, but when they ask them to fight and to be hard and to be cruel,
yes,
and to be invulnerable and to suppress their feelings for the sense of something that they're meant to be, that is unattainable without the potential of the horrible sacrifice and genocide, actually, that Coriolanus calls on when he goes over to Ophidius. Wow, this is heavy. Sorry, people. So there's this awful death. Let's talk about this practically so people aren't worried about you. When I was looking through my photos in my iPhone of this period, I saw one where we did this test of what's about to happen to you, where you are suspended upside down. And it has our producer, Kate Pakenham, and general manager, Joe, with their faces doing this as they look at the test in the stalls of the Donmar.
Mm.
I mean,
it was a funny one. We were all worried about it, weren't we? We were all worried about how long can you suspend a human being upside down by his ankles?
And we're about to find out.
It was such a weird sensation every night. It was almost like, inside myself, of course, I was, aware of the power of the scene and everything, but inside myself, it was almost a relief. It was almost a relief for it that the story is over.
You didn't have to do another big emotional beat.
That whatever was required from me internally to give this amazing story shape and meaning, it's over. The rest is silence, or whatever it is. And just hanging upside down, minding my own business is wasn't too bad. It was okay.
I mean, it's my video's buffering again, so I don't know where we are, but it's
I'm hanging upside down now
as well. So this body, to go back to the idea of the wounds and the shower and all this body that this city is obsessed with, that Ophidius is obsessed with, and in the end is treated like this piece of meat by being suspended upside down. And you sort of really, this is grim, okay, but you really felt the warehouse at that moment as well, I think, in a sort of powerful, awful way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, mine's come back live and you are twizzling. I think I'm practicing the twizzle or not, so you weren't too spinny.
Technical term. Yeah.
Well, there's like at a certain speed that would be funny, wouldn't it? So.
No, yeah, you wouldn't want to be like, it wouldn't want to be too much. Yeah. No. It would be silly.
Yeah.
Yes. And amazing kind of synergy of cast and company. Because I actually was wearing a very complicated harness underneath my costume, so that when Dwayne comes over he clips me in, and actually the weight, I'm being pulled up by my hips, not by my ankles.
Yeah. I
think if I had been pulled up by my ankles, I may have damaged them significantly.
Yeah.
And having everybody, Dave in the
I'm just going to say, it's ended, so there is lots of applause going on. I'm following the YouTube comments, and I'm following your comments, and people are applauding. And I'm just going to take my own applause for all of the actors. There we go. We'll get a curtain call.
My applause to you. And my applause to everybody who made this possible, everybody behind the scenes, the crew, the house managers, people front of house at the Donmar, the producers. It was lovely to see Al, and literally everyone who made this possible, and Sunita and Erin and
Sally,
Matt,
who on
Dave and
that
Sally and Kate and Rob, and so thank you to all of you, and thank you to the audience. Thank you to anyone who came to see it when we did it 6 years ago, and thank you for tuning in to listen to us have a little chat about it today.
And just follow my adventures in tech. So just a little grace note for this: if you've enjoyed this curtain call, please bear in mind that some of the relief you can see on the actors' faces is because they've just done a live broadcast into cinemas, not just a play. And I think you do kind of feel preserved, don't you, in a weird way? It's not like movies, you don't get another take if it doesn't go right. Yeah. So that collective act of concentration is absolutely massive.
Worth saying, very good point. Like having done lots of different kinds of, acted in different kinds of things. Acting for film, acting for television, acting on stage, acting for radio, acting whatever. This is like doing one of these is a completely unique experience, because it doesn't feel like acting for the theatre, really.
No, it's a different thing.
You know that the largest audience is actually not in the room.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't feel like acting for camera in any conventional way, like making a film or a television series, because it's live. It's one big take for the actors. It's completely unique. We were all like.
And look, there's a last shot of the Donmar Warehouse that, like so many of our theatres, currently has their doors closed. So that for me is a very, very poignant thing, because I've worked on and off at that theatre since I was 23 when I trained there. So
amazing.
It's a very strange thing to think of it not open. I'm sure a lot of people feel that, because if you're on here, you're probably a theatre fan or care about theatre, or maybe this is something that will persuade you to go and see a bit more of it when it's back. But your support is so important, and I don't mean donations. I mean you're being here and watching this and being with us. It's really moving, actually. It's a moving play, and people's performances are amazing, and it's so great to have this little reunion. But what's really moving to me is just to feel like we've been together with an audience through this. It's not a thing, but it's a bit closer, isn't it?
Yeah. And we'll all be back. We will be back one day, whenever that day comes. We have to believe this strange moment is temporary. And, talking of the ancient classical cultures, the Greeks and the Romans, people sort of think of the contemporary sense of theatre was invented in 2,500 years ago, and theatre isn't going anywhere. I think we'll be back. We'll be back with streamers and balloons and celebrations.
Yep, we will. Tom, do you want to do, just for these brilliant people who've watched, I will quickly bash through a couple of questions just to see if there's anything.
Yes.
Is that all right? Should we do that? Just to say.
Yeah. Do we have to do, we don't have to do anything else?
No, we do. Yeah, but in a little bit. Okay. Yeah, there's just one. I want you to do 2 questions for me. How do you overcome your nerves on stage?
You never do. You just get used to you just get used to them. You just go, oh, there you are. Hello, nerves. You're coming with me because we've got no choice, and you might be useful. The truth is, I think maybe somebody brilliant, like Judi Dench told me once, you never stop getting nervous, and you need them. You need to know that it's a special moment, that it's part of the ritual of something, of walking onto a stage in front of a group of strangers to tell a story is an amazing thing, and it's not usual. It's not. It should be something that makes you a bit nervous, because it's a very special thing, and so I don't ever really kind of make peace with my nerves. I do always have them. I know it sounds strange, people probably think I don't, but I've been doing this for a very long time.
Amazing.
But if you're nervous, it means you care about it, and if you care about it, it means you stand a chance of communicating something.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's
Don't be afraid.
I'm going to take one question, which is just admiring my hair. Yes, I cut it myself, but it is a mullet at the back. So thank you. And let me see.
Josie, you don't win in the mullet competition, I'm afraid.
No, I know. So yeah. Fave memory of the play. My favourite memory of the play, if I am really honest, is Tom, you saying that you would do it with me. I was never more excited than in that moment and really felt the chance. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's my answer. Okay, so we are going to say thank you and sign off, I think.
Yeah.
This has been an experience. Thank you for your patience and your kindness. Thank you for your excellent questions and for sticking with it. Coriolanus is on YouTube for the next 7 days. It will be followed by the amazing Mark Gatiss, who played Menenius, giving his Madness of King George from the Nottingham Playhouse. So you should definitely check that out. It's a good leverness and the intensity of this, and Mark giving another extraordinary performance. Do again Coriolanus if you want to without us in your ear. I will save these videos to my Instagram so you can watch them or just like pick up any tech tips from them, because that went really smoothly. And sending loads. It was
brilliant, Josie. You're brilliant. You're brilliant. Not only are you a virtuoso theatre and film director, but you are also a immaculate hoster of Instagram Live.
Well, I am missing hosting, I have to say. It's strange not to have parties. I like a party. We'll have lots of parties when this crazy is over. Thank you to everyone who helped with the production. Thank you, Tom Hiddleston. Thank you to everyone who donated. Thank you to everyone who watched. Please keep supporting the National Theatre. Please keep supporting the Donmar Warehouse Theatre in general. And that's it.
Thank you to Donmar. Thank you to the National. Thank you, Coriolanus Company. Thank you to the audience, always. We couldn't do what we do without you. So thank you for that. From the bottom of all of our hearts, you are what make the theatre what it is.
Namaste. All right.
Okay.
Take care.
Take care, everybody. Look after yourselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
All of that. We'll be back one day with different hair. Okay. Bye.
Bye. Bye.